Welcome back to News in Focus. Now, Doctors Without Borders, better known by its French language acronym MSF, has called for an immediate end to Israel's militarized food distribution scheme in Gaza, which it described as an institutionalized starvation and dehumanization. In a grim report released titled, "This is not aid, this is orchestrated killing," the medical nonprofit said that it operates clinics in Rafah, southern Gaza, near two GHF aid distribution sites under the control of the Israeli military and private U.S. contractors. Joining me now, I'd like to welcome back to News in Focus as Dr. Mohammed Fadlallah, who is the managing medical doctor for Doctors Without Borders in Gaza. Dr. Fadlallah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and shukran so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm happy to be back. Thank you.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. You know, Dr. Fadlallah, listening to the testimony from Anthony Aguilar, who was a U.S. private contractor with the GHF, and of course he described the killing of that little boy, Amir, and I beg your pardon, and listening to his testimony and looking at the report that obviously MSF had conducted, it's quite clear, isn't it, that this killing is really institutionalized and aid is being used through it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it just completes the picture that we've been seeing on the ground. So the perspective and angle that I've had is as a doctor in a trauma surgical hospital, and we see the increases in cases that have been coming to us all summer directly after aid distributions. We've seen the mass casualty events that go to our hospital and the neighboring hospitals that are timed right after the distributions. We've heard the direct testimony of our patients and our staff who talk about their family members and things like this. So the testimony of that brave employee of the GHF adds to it, and it just completes the picture.
Dr. Fadlallah, I just want to read what was written in the statement. This was from one of the victims of who experienced what was happening at these sites. Quote unquote, "I have 4 young children. I have no food, nothing at all, not even a piece of bread, no flour, nothing." They said there was an aid point by the sea. We said we'd go get something for the kids. And of course, this person breaks down what is currently happening at these aid sites. And it's quite clear, you may get your piece of bread, you may get your tin of beans, you may get your lentils, but there is no real guarantee that you're going to return home. And that's the reality, isn't it, for many parts of Gaza right now, for people who are going to get this aid, knowing that the chances of them coming back alive is very, very slim.
I mean, it's really true. And you know, you could say that in the beginning, you know, people didn't know how these distribution sites were going to be. A couple weeks in, I think it was clear that what was happening in those distribution sites was indiscriminate killing of large amounts of people, indiscriminate shooting. So for the better part of the summer, for the better part of the occupation, the operation of these GHF sites, people have been consciously making the decision, knowing the fact that there's a good chance that they would either be killed or maimed, that they have to go because there are no other options for these folks to go get food for their families. So these are decisions being made. Nobody is under any kind of misconception as to the danger of these aid sites. People are going knowing that there is a very real chance that serious harm will be done to them.
Dr. Fadlallah, I want to talk on GHF itself because it's come under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of criticism when you see what is happening on the ground. Many NGOs, including yours at MSF, has called for this to be disbanded. They cannot operate there. How has the world allowed, and of course you're in Deir al-Balah at this moment, and of course you get many of the victims, the patients that are coming through to you. How is the world allowed for this organization, GHF, to act not only with impunity, but to really be a machine of death for people who want one thing and one thing only, and that is food, a universal right for every single human being on our planet?
Yeah, I mean, really, this is probably the central question of everything that's going on here. How has the world let any of this happen? How has the world let there be a siege for 6 months happen to the point where people are starving? How has the world let these schemes that they term as aid happen that end up just causing much more death and destruction on people's lives than they do good? How does the world let uh, journalists be targeted? Even yesterday, a team of journalists was murdered. How's the world let an exorbitant number of doctors get targeted and killed in medical facilities? I think the world has failed this place and failed these people in unspeakable ways. And I don't know the answer. I think that there is large populations of people who do care. There's a lot of protests, but the people in power, my government included, and maybe my government, I'm a citizen of the United States, primarily need to step up and answer these questions, and make a resolution for what's going on here.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that question, Dr. Fadlallah, because, of course, the United States government has been part and parcel of this GHF. And when questions are asked to Donald Trump and his cabinet, they're still backing the GHF to go ahead and deliver. But it's quite clear, isn't it, that this very same humanitarian foundation is really not acting in the best interest of the people of Gaza. The proof is in the pudding. Your report says it, the report of, obviously, MSF, but also many testimonies and eyewitnesses which have been transcribed into other organizations saying this GHF cannot work in Gaza because of what is happening at these aid sites.
Yeah, I've been working in the humanitarian space for many years now, and nowhere in any place I've ever worked have I ever seen anything like this, where something wrapped in the term of aid is really used to kill and injure and maim people. I think that there is a sad disconnect in the way we consume what is real and what is not. There are opinions and pieces out there about how there's aid being distributed by them. But I've been here on the ground. I've been here 8 weeks now on the ground at the forefront of what's coming out of these aid sites. And it's not aid at all. It's casualties, it's death, it's murder. And I'm seeing it for myself, and I'm bearing witness to what I'm seeing. And that voice has to trump whatever is not here. Whatever reporting, whatever think pieces are coming from outside of here. What we say from within this place needs to outweigh that.
And Dr. Fadlallah, I want to touch on, obviously, the journalist that got killed, and I want to tie it to, obviously, Al-Shifa Hospital. As a medical practitioner yourself, the way the journalists were killed in the tent, which was, of course, accommodating displaced media practitioners right there by Al-Shifa Hospital. And I want to quote from a MSF medical coordinator from last year saying, quote unquote, "I've worked in many war zone and violent conflicts with MSF, but I've never seen anything like this." And what we saw yesterday is just one piece of a puzzle of the destruction and the genocide that the people of Gaza had to go through. The death of Anas al-Sharif and his colleagues being done right in front of a medical facility.
Yeah, I mean, it's another cruelty. It's another cruelty inflicted on the people here in Gaza. I think there's a lot of us here who are seeing things that they've never seen before, who are bearing witness to things that in the past might have been unimaginable. It's really a shame and a black mark on all our governments in the West, on the U.S., on our society, that these things continue to happen in such a systemic way to no end. But a lot of what we're seeing here is things that we really are not used to seeing in its cruelty, in its apathy, in its calculatedness. And you know, I beg my colleagues, I beg my people, my nation, to put its foot down and put an end to what's going on here.
Dr. Mohammed Fadlallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you. Shukran so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Dr. Mohammed Fadlallah coming to us from Deir al-Bala, another area where Israeli bombs continue to rain over the genocide that is happening in Gaza. We're going to be coming back home. Of course, all of you have seen a tale of two parts. We had, of course, the podcasters who had made derogatory comments towards the colored community of South Africa. And then, after Gayton McKenzie, of course, went ahead and pressed charges against these podcasters, old tweets had resurfaces of him using the K word. Where are we in terms of race relations within South Africa? I'm going to be speaking to the Executive Director of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Nishan Bolton, after the break.